How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much for watching. I always appreciate it. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another classic movie review. This is my review of a film that came out back in 1974. This was directed by Shigehiro Ozawa, and it stars the great Sonny Chiba. And I am talking about The Street Fighter. Not to be confused with Street Fighter based on the video game. This is entirely different. This is the story of a guy that has serious martial arts skills. He's not really quite a good guy, not really quite a bad guy. And he's basically just an anti hero who is hired by criminals like the mob and stuff to do certain jobs and just basically beat people up for money. Yeah, this is the story of Terry Seguri. And like I said, he's basically a badass who gets paid to mess up people. And at the beginning of the film, he has been hired by two siblings, a brother and a sister, to get their older brother out of jail. And at the beginning of the film, this older brother makes it a little hard for Terry. He doesn't go along quite willingly, and so Terry has to sort of use a little persuasion, and they have a short fight. Uh, Junjio, I believe, is what this guy is called, and so he gives Junjio this one punch coma punch. That's the kind of stuff that you see in this movie. There's a punch where Terry takes out a guy by sticking his knuckle out and goes right for the top of the head, and it kind of cuts to this X-ray shot of that, where all of a sudden you see all kinds of blood spewing out, and the blood in this movie is super red. By the way, it is a '70s movie, so you get that super red blood. Those of you familiar with Hammer horror films of the '60s, you know what kind of blood I'm talking about. And so yeah, he gets this guy out of jail, and the siblings don't want to pony up all the dough. They actually are hesitant to pay Terry. They just tell him they need more time. They don't have the money. And since Terry is basically a gangster that has karate skills or martial arts skills, I'm not sure if it's exactly karate. I don't think it's karate. I think it's something else that he does because it's a little more unusual. It's a little more unorthodox of a style. But yeah, he's not happy with the idea of not getting paid, and so he basically takes on this brother and sister right then and there. Then Terry meets with the mafia, and they offer him another job involving kidnapping the daughter of some rich guy, this oil tycoon. But Terry isn't a big fan of this plan, and when he finds out or when he realizes that these mob guys are not just any ordinary mob guys, but they're Japanese mafia, they're Yakuza. Terry doesn't like the Yakuza, and so he turns their offer down. And when he turns down the job, of course, now he knows too much, and so of course now they gotta try and get Terry taken out. And of course, Terry isn't gonna go willingly, so he's whipping ass left and right. And he has, like I said, this really unorthodox kind of fighting style because he gets down really low, and then he'll just pop up with a kick or something out of nowhere. And whenever there's people behind him, whenever you see people taking on multiple fighters in movies, I know the thing that gets annoying is why don't the people in the back just rush him? Why don't they all just rush him at once? But Terry has this thing with his breathing, and he gets a little loud with it and makes these noises, and it's almost like he's getting ready to strike every time he makes these different sounds. And so the guys in the back are just like waiting for him. So uh, it's kind of funny to watch because you know that if they all just rushed him, maybe they could take him. But either way, he takes on groups of people, left and right, one at a time, just kicking butt. And now that the mafia, they know that he knows all about their plan, he's basically number one on the Yakuza's shit list. And so he decides to take it upon himself to try and see if he can get to this girl first. So the girl that's in danger of being kidnapped by the Yakuza is already being protected by her uncle at her uncle's dojo. And her uncle is a karate master himself, Kendo Masaoka, who has his own students. And I think he is into basic karate. And he's kind of a heavy set guy, but he has some serious skill. And so Terry shows up at this dojo talking a lot of trash and talking about how their karate ain't shit, basically, and how he can take them all on. And so he challenges everybody, of course, Terry being Terry. And also, Terry being Terry, he gets his hands on the girl and is a little too aggressive, almost to the point where he comes off downright villainous. But like I said, this guy ain't a good guy. Not quite a bad guy, but he's not quite a good guy either. But I think he's trying to make this point that um, if he can get to her, then anybody can. And so he wants to prove to them that he's the only one that can protect her. And so he starts to take on the students and kicks butt left and right. And before he knows it, he is having a one-on-one with the main guy, Kendo Masaoka. And they have a really good match because even though Masaoka is more of a heavy set guy, he is very, very skilled. And I think Terry is a little surprised when he holds his own against Terry. For the most part, it's one-sided with Masaoka showing Terry that he's not the only one with skills. So that's one of the things I really like about that scene. And then when the match comes to an end, there is a nice connection between Masaoka and Terry when Masaoka tells Terry that he recognizes him and realizes that he knew his father. And so there is a bit of history there, and things start to calm down, and Masaoka takes up Terry on his offer to have Terry protect his niece. And so, of course, for the rest of the film, we get more little fights between Terry and the Yakuza. There comes a point in the film where the Yakuza actually capture Terry for a minute, and Terry being Terry, that doesn't last for very long because, Terry has them skills, and there's a uncomfortable scene in the film where this poor girl is being raped, and the guy that does the act gets what's coming to him big time when he has this encounter with Terry towards the end of the film. And Terry is very ruthless and rips the guy's nutsack completely off. And they actually show it in the film, and it's one of the most badass things that I've ever seen in anything. There's a really badass scene where Terry also rips out a guy's throat with his bare hand. Uh, Completely reminded me of 2008's Rambo, that great scene where Stallone rips out the guy's throat. And so I realized watching Rambo back in 2008, nice little homage there to this film. But yeah, there's some really great fights and great martial arts stuff in this movie. And then once you get towards the third act, you have this great final battle taking place in the rain on top of a ship. You got Terry fighting his way through all these bad guys. Of course, Terry's all in black. Through most of the film, that's his outfit. He's just this man in black with these looks like these bangle things on his wrists and forearms, and he uses that actually on one guy in one scene, and that guy turns out not so good, and yeah, just really great fighting throughout the movie. Like I said, this Terry guy, he's not quite the good guy, not quite a bad guy, just this really cool anti-hero. And the whole thing builds up to a rematch with Junjio, the guy that he got out of jail at the beginning of the film. And during this final match with Junjio, uh, Junjio actually has more of a even keel fight with Terry and shows off a little more skill, and he's not as easy to take out the second time around. So that's a really good fight. For those of you out there that are mostly interested in watching really cool martial arts fighting scenes, this movie has plenty of that in spades. But this is a really solid movie because it has a really good plot that's easy to follow. The main character is a total badass and fun to watch. And as Terry Seguri, Sonny Chiba does a really great job bringing this character to life. And like I said, just a total badass on screen. And if you're familiar with Kill Bill, he is also in that movie. He is the guy that makes the sword for Uma Thurman's character for the bride. And he's a little bit older than that because that movie came out a few decades after the Street Fighter. But if you want to see that guy in his prime, highly recommend that you check this out. as far as the rating for this movie is very close to being a 4-star movie for me, but doesn't quite get there. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars, and the reason for that is there's quite a few unintentional laughs throughout this movie due to the nature of the dubbing, which can be funny at times. And, it's not something that I hold against it too much because that's part of the territory with these old martial arts movies. But there's also a lot of unintentional humor with Terry's sidekick in the film, who he calls Rat Nose. I guess that's his nickname. And Rat Nose isn't very helpful to Terry throughout the movie. He is kind of a whiner, kind of a complainer. He's kind of slow-witted, and he doesn't even really fight. He's just kind of there to be kind of a hindrance, to be honest. So he's not. Well, that's not true. He's kind of the comic relief, I guess. So I don't have too much of a problem with Rat Nose, but a lot of his scenes, they are unintentionally funny. So that's the one thing that brings it down slightly, just a tad, not too much. But overall, this is still a really fun time. Highly recommend this for martial arts fans and action movie fans. So if you're into this kind of thing, then please seek this out. This is my copy of the old DVD. This is a combo copy that has the first and second film, Street Fighter and Return of the Street Fighter. And yeah, I've had this for a little bit now, and good quality DVD. I think I'll pick it up eventually on Blu-ray so I can watch it with a little better quality. But I know that if you are going to look for this on streaming, I've seen it before on Tubi, for those of you that have Tubi. But this can also be found on like Amazon Prime. You just have to rent it for a few bucks or whatever. But yeah, the Street Fighter from 1974. Highly recommend action movie fans check it out. Thank you all very much for watching this classic movie review. And if you're into old movies and if you're new to this channel, hit that bell and subscribe and you will get more reviews on old movies. This channel is basically dedicated to putting a spotlight on all the old gems that a lot of people don't talk about anymore. And I love to talk movies, so if you're into that kind of thing, subscribe and join the family. It's a small family right now because I'm still kind of getting started. Only been around for about a year talking about these old movies, but I still love doing it, and I'll do it as long as people are willing to watch and listen. So thank you very much for those of you that do watch the whole thing. I appreciate your support. If you want to leave something in the comment section, I would love to see some comments. I hardly ever see any comments on these review videos, so please leave me your thoughts on your favorite martial arts films. It doesn't matter if they're old or not. Movies are movies, whether they're new or old, so you can put anything in there. And if you want to go ahead and share this video, it would really help out the channel. I very much appreciate it. And if you want to go ahead. Never mind that at all. Always helps out as well. And just thank you very much for your time and for listening to me blab about movies. Very much appreciate you. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Peace.